Mercedes Benz just put its name on 12 skyscrapers in Dubai. I want to explain exactly what that means, how it gets built, and why this is different from every other branded tower you've seen before. Let me start with the basic fact. This is confirmed. Mercedes-Benz and a Dubai developer called Bing Hadi signed a deal to build 12 towers, one central hub structure, and an entire district from scratch. The location is called Maidan. It sits in the desert, 8 minutes from the Burj Khalifa. The total land area is 836,000 square meters. To put that in context, that is bigger than Monaco's entire harbor district. And I think that number alone tells you everything about the scale here. The deal was signed at the Mercedes Museum in Stuttgart, Germany. That detail matters to me. This wasn't signed in a Dubai sales office. It was signed at the home of the brand. That signals Mercedes-Benz is fully committed, not just licensing their name for a fee and walking away. Every single design detail reportedly gets signed off by Stuttgart. Every star, every finish, every material. That's the way I understand the arrangement. Now let me explain who is actually building this. The developer is Bing Hadi. Mohammed Bing Hadi runs the company. He is known in Dubai as one of the most aggressive luxury-branded tower developers operating right now. He has worked with other major brands before, but this is confirmed as his biggest project to date. 12 towers, 13,000 apartments, 30 billion dirhams. That converts to roughly 8.2 billion US dollars. The project is called Mercedes-Benz Places Bing Hadi City. What I find interesting is why Maidan was chosen. Land in downtown Dubai, near the Burj Khalifa, is extremely expensive. Maidan is 8 minutes away. Land there costs a fraction of downtown. But it's still close enough that buyers can see the Burj Khalifa from their windows. That is the smart play here. You get proximity. You get the view. You pay less for the land. Then you brand it heavily to justify a premium price on the units. Studios in this development start at 1.3 million dirhams. Penthouses start at 20 million dirhams and go much higher. The brand premium is real. Confirmed data from the Dubai property market shows that Mercedes-Benz branding adds roughly 20 to 30% over the price of comparable non-branded units in the same area. That's not a small number. Now let me walk you through how something like this actually gets built, because I think most people see the render and have no idea what it takes to go from empty desert sand to 12 finished towers. The first problem is the ground itself. Dubai's ground is desert sand sitting over weak limestone. That combination cannot support a skyscraper on its own. So before anything visible happens, the team has to drill deep into the earth and create a foundation strong enough to hold hundreds of thousands of tons of building. This is called pile foundation work. Piling rigs drill holes, some as shallow as 18 meters, some as deep as 32 meters, depending on where solid rock sits below. The depth varies across the site because Dubai's limestone layer is not consistent. What I found interesting is that engineers test every single pile before connecting it to anything above. If a pile doesn't perform to spec, it gets rejected. You don't gamble with foundation work on a 65-story tower. Once each hole is drilled, a rebar cage gets lowered in. Then concrete gets pumped from the bottom of the hole upward. That detail is important. If you pour concrete from the top, it separates by weight as it falls. The mix becomes uneven. The pile fails. Pumping from the bottom up keeps the concrete consistent the whole way through. Hundreds of piles across 12 tower footprints. That's happening simultaneously, with multiple rigs running at the same time. After the piles, workers build pile caps. A pile cap is a thick slab of concrete that sits on top of a group of piles. Instead of one tower column pushing its entire load onto one pile below, the pile cap spreads that load across the whole group. Then ground beams connect all the pile caps together. The result is one unified foundation structure under each tower. After that, the basement gets excavated. At Maiden, the basement goes 8 meters below desert level. Groundwater starts appearing at about 4 meters down in Dubai. So pumps run constantly to keep the excavation dry, while workers pour the base slab and basement walls. That's 8 meters of concrete structure before anything rises above ground level. Most people walking past a construction site never realize how much is happening underground first, now above ground. The way Binghati runs construction is what makes this project move fast. They use a system where the structural core of each tower pours itself floor by floor using a jump form. The form climbs 1 floor per day. Workers ride a platform up with it. The core stays 3 floors ahead of the floor slabs. The floor slabs then follow. The facade installation follows the slabs. 3 separate operations happening at different heights on the same tower at the same time. That's how you build 12 towers simultaneously without the whole project grinding to a halt. The floor slabs themselves use a method called post-tensioning. After the concrete is poured and starts to cure, steel cables inside the slab get tensioned, pulled tight, using hydraulic jacks. This puts the concrete under compression. Compressed concrete is much stronger. You can span longer distances without needing columns below. That means bigger open floor plates inside the apartments, more flexible layouts, less obstruction. To me, that's one of those details that buyers never think about, but completely affects how the finished space feels to live in. The towers also use pre-assembled stair cores. Instead of building each stair section in place floor by floor, the stair units get assembled on the ground and craned up as complete pieces. One lift. Workers connect from each side. That saves time at height, which is always the expensive, difficult part of tower construction. Now, the look of the buildings. This is where the Mercedes Benz design input is most visible. The facade frames are built off-site and delivered in panels. Every panel is slightly different. The building face curves gently, so no 2 panels have exactly the same dimensions. Each one gets fabricated to its specific position in the building. Glass panels weigh 400 kilograms each. Workers don't carry them. They guide them using vacuum lifting devices. Once the glass is in position, structural silicone seals it to the frame. The silicone has to perform in Dubai's climate, which means 45-degree summer heat and salt air. This joint cannot fail. The distinctive columns, the ones with the chrome-like finish, get clad last. Workers install the chrome cladding after the glass is in. What I found visually striking is that workers can see themselves reflected in the surface as they finish it. The render showed polished chrome columns. The finished product delivers exactly that. The Mercedes star itself, the three-pointed star that appears on every car the company makes, is prefabricated as a structural element, craned to height and bolted to the column. Workers connect it by hand at extreme height. Every corner of every tower gets one. That's a lot of stars. And according to all confirmed reporting, every star is specified by Mercedes Benz's design team in Stuttgart. Not approximated. Not swapped for a cheaper version. The real specification. Solar film goes on every glass panel. Without it, Dubai's sun would turn each apartment into an oven. The film cuts heat gain while keeping the view clear. Balcony balustrades are also full glass, so the view from every unit stays unobstructed in every direction. Now let me explain the central hub, because it's the most unusual part of the whole development. There's a circular building at the center of the district. The other 12 towers surround it. This hub has an overhanging structure, meaning floors that hang out beyond the columns below. To make that work, engineers use feature columns that are poured in circular forms and post-tension slabs that carry their own load across the long spans. Pre-assembled steel sections get lifted to the hub roof in single crane lifts. The rooftop pool, the one that appears in every render, sits above all of this. Workers built it while standing above the 40th floor equivalent, with the Burj Khalifa visible on the horizon. A spire rises from the hub's crown. The sections get craned one at a time, bolted and torqued at extreme height. At night, LED cladding on the spire makes it glow blue above the full development. That's the visual landmark that ties the whole city together from a distance. Inside the units, smart home wiring goes in before the plasterboard goes up. Every apartment is fully automated from the day the owner moves in. EV charging in every single parking space, with a smart guidance system to direct drivers. The development has 3,000 underground parking spaces below the central park. The park itself sits between the towers, with trees planted by crane, because the root balls are too heavy to move any other way. The circular water feature at the hub base gets tiled by workers from the inside out. There's an esports lounge in the residential tower. Server infrastructure goes in before screens. I found that detail interesting because it tells you who this development is being marketed to. Not just older wealth, younger, tech-comfortable buyers too. The branded amenities inside include a spa, wellness pools, treatment rooms, and retail units along the boulevard, connecting all 12 towers. Sky bridges link the tower podiums at upper levels. The city within a city idea is real. You can move between towers without going to street level. Now here is something I think gets overlooked in all the render videos and sales presentations. The people actually building this city, the workers drilling piles at 4 a.m., pouring concrete in 45-degree heat, installing chrome cladding at 60 floors, guiding 400-kilogram glass panels with ropes. Most of them will never own a Mercedes car. Many of them will never live in a unit, like the ones they are finishing by hand. That gap between who builds luxury and who buys it is very real in Dubai. And I think it's worth saying out loud when we talk about a project at this scale. Let me now explain where the project stands as of early 2026. This is confirmed. The flagship tower, the one called AVTR, after the Mercedes concept car, is located not in Meydan, but in downtown Dubai. That tower is 341 meters tall. Its structural completion is expected in 2026. Handover to buyers is targeting December 2026. The Mercedes City project, the full 12-tower district, started foundations in 2023. The City 1 section was announced in January 2026. Handover for the full district is targeting 2029. So right now, what exists is foundations, early columns, and rising structural frames. The full skyline you see in renders is approximately 3 years away. What I understand now is that this is not a simple branded tower deal. It's not Mercedes Benz licensing its name and collecting a check. Stuttgart is actively involved in design decisions. The brand premium is real and measurable. The engineering is serious. The scale is genuinely unusual. Dubai has Armani hotels, Bugatti residences, Versace interiors, but a full district, 12 towers, 836,000 square meters, all built around one car brand's design language. That has not been done before at this scale anywhere. That's the thing I keep coming back to. And one more thing worth knowing. The payment structure on these units is 20% down to secure your apartment. The rest follows in stages as construction progresses. That structure is very common in Dubai's off-plan market. It makes units accessible to buyers who don't have the full amount ready right now. But it also means the developer is collecting funds as the building rises, which helps fund construction directly. It's a system that works for both sides when the developer is credible and the project is real. Binghati has delivered before. That track record matters here. So for me, the main thing is this. When you see the Mercedes star on a skyscraper in Dubai, it represents something that took thousands of piles, millions of cubic meters of concrete, years of simultaneous construction across 12 sites, and a brand deal signed in Stuttgart, making it all happen. The render is 3 years from being real, but the work is already in the ground. And that difference between a render and a building is exactly what this whole explanation is about.